A faint cry pierced the quiet of the evening, so fleeting it was almost imaginary. I was in my kitchen, the water running as I washed the day's dishes, the gentle clatter of ceramic a familiar, comforting sound. The noise, when it came, was thin and sharp, like a distant bird or a child's sudden shriek of laughter during a game of tag. I paused for a moment, my hand submerged in the warm, soapy water, and tilted my head, listening. The house was silent again, save for the rhythmic hum of the refrigerator and the steady gush from the faucet. It was nothing, I decided. Just the ordinary, ambiguous sounds of a neighborhood settling down for the night. I dismissed it, turning back to my chore, never imagining that what I had just heard was the final, desperate punctuation mark at the end of someone's life. It was a Tuesday, unremarkable in every way. The sky had been a flat, uninterested grey, threatening rain that never came. I remember the small details of that day with a clarity that now feels like a curse. I remember the slightly bitter taste of the coffee I'd brewed too strong that morning. I remember the way the mailman, new on the route, had fumbled with the letters before pushing them through my slot. And I remember seeing her, my neighbour Eleanor, tending to the rose bushes that bordered her perfectly manicured lawn. Eleanor Vance was a woman woven from routine and quiet dignity. In her late 60s, she lived alone in the pristine two-story house directly across the street. Her husband had passed away years ago, a fact I'd gleaned from brief, polite exchanges over the fence. She was a private person, but not unfriendly. We'd wave, comment on the weather, and occasionally she'd offer me a cutting from her prized hydrangeas. Her life, from the outside, seemed as orderly as her garden. The porch light on at dusk, the morning paper collected by sunrise, the curtains drawn at precisely 10 o'clock. That evening, as I finished the dishes and dried my hands, I glanced out the window. The lights in Eleanor's house were on, casting a warm, inviting glow from her living room. It was just past 8 o'clock, a little early for her to be turning in, but not unusual. I thought nothing more of it. I settled onto my couch, turned on the television, and let the manufactured drama of a crime show wash over me. The irony is so thick now. It's suffocating. The next morning, the first sign that something was amiss was the newspaper. It lay on her porch, still wrapped in its plastic sleeve, long after the sun had climbed into the sky. I noticed it as I left for work. It was a small crack in the flawless facade of her routine, but a crack nonetheless. Still, I rationalized it. Perhaps she was feeling unwell, sleeping in. Perhaps she'd gone to visit family unannounced. I went about my day, the tiny splinter of unease buried under a mountain of spreadsheets and deadlines. By that evening, the splinter had grown. The newspaper was still there, now joined by the day's mail peeking out of her letterbox. Her porch light, which should have blinked on as twilight fell, remained dark. The house across the street, usually a beacon of quiet domesticity, now looked vacant and cold. A different kind of silence emanated from it now, not peaceful, but empty. A hollow silence. I called a friend, voicing my concern. Was I overreacting? Being a nosy neighbor. Maybe just call for a wellness check, she suggested. It's better to be safe than sorry. Her words gave me the push I needed. My hand trembled slightly as I dialed the non-emergency police line, my voice faltering as I explained the broken routine, the uncollected paper, the unlit lamp. I felt a surge of foolishness, as if I were wasting their time. But they didn't think so. 2 officers arrived within 20 minutes. I watched from my window as they knocked on Eleanor's door. They called her name. The silence that answered them was heavier than ever. After walking the perimeter and peering through windows, they made the decision to force entry. The sound of the doorjamb splintering was loud and violent in the quiet street, a stark contrast to the phantom cry from the night before. I couldn't tear my eyes away. I saw them disappear inside. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Then one of the officers re-emerged, his face a grim, unreadable mask. He spoke into his radio, and the placid quiet of our suburban street was shattered forever. More cars began to arrive. First, another patrol car, then an unmarked sedan, and finally, the coroner's van. The flashing red and blue lights painted my own living room in frantic, terrifying strokes. A detective, a tall man with tired eyes and a somber expression, came to my door later that night. His name was Detective Miller. He asked if I had seen or heard anything unusual in the past 24 hours. My mind went blank at first, scrambling through the mundane events of the previous day. And then it hit me. The sound. The faint cry from the kitchen. I did hear something, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Last night. Round 8. I was doing the dishes. It sounded like a scream, maybe. But it was so quick, so far away. I thought it was a kid playing, or I don't know. I thought it was nothing. Detective Miller's gaze sharpened. He pulled out a small notepad. Can you be more specific about the time? He asked, his voice gentle but firm. Around 8:05, maybe 8:10 p.m.? I nodded, trying to replay the moment in my head. The water running, the soap suds, the fleeting, high-pitched sound. Yes, that sounds right. And you're sure you didn't hear anything else? No shouting, no sounds of a struggle. He pressed. I shook my head, my heart sinking. No, just that one sound. And then it was quiet. He thanked me for my time and left, leaving me alone with a chilling, sickening realization that nothing I had heard, it had been something, it had been everything. The investigation unfolded over the following weeks. The neighborhood buzzed with whispers and theories. We learned that Eleanor had been the victim of a robbery gone horribly wrong. They said she had been startled by an intruder and, in the ensuing struggle, had fallen and hit her head. The official cause of death was blunt force trauma. They believed she died almost instantly, almost. Detective Miller visited me again a month later. They had a suspect in custody, a local handyman who had done some work for Eleanor a few months prior. His fingerprints were found on a shattered vase in the living room. During his interrogation, he had confessed. He said he hadn't meant to hurt her. He just wanted the jewelry he had seen in her bedroom. She had walked in on him, and she had screamed. Just once. He said she let out one sharp scream, Detective Miller told me, his eyes holding mine, just before he pushed her. His timeline places it at approximately 8:07 p.m. The detective's words landed like stones in my gut. The sound, my nothing, it was Eleanor's. Final, terrified breath, her last attempt to call for help, a call I had heard and ignored. That knowledge became a phantom that haunted my days and stalked my nights. I replayed the moment in my mind, an endless, tortuous loop. What if I hadn't dismissed it? What if I had called 911 right then and there? Could they have gotten there in time? Could I have saved her? The what-ifs became a corrosive acid, eating away at my peace of mind. I couldn't look at my kitchen sink without feeling a wave of nausea. The simple act of washing dishes became a memorial to my failure. The sound of running water, once a soothing white noise, now sounded like a clock ticking backward to that terrible moment of inaction. I began to see Eleanor everywhere, in the roses she had planted, in the empty space where her car used to be, in the darkened windows of her house across the street. Her house was eventually sold. A young family with 2 small children moved in. Laughter now echoed from the yard where Eleanor had once quietly gardened. Life moved on for everyone else, but I was stuck, anchored to that one Tuesday evening. My regret was a physical presence, a weight on my chest that made it hard to breathe. I had been the sole audience to the last sound a person ever made, and I had given it a standing ovation of silence. The guilt was a prison of my own making. I became withdrawn, jumpy at every unexpected noise. The shriek of a child playing, the backfire of a car, a siren in the distance, each sound sent a jolt of panic through me, a fresh wave of self-loathing. I had prided myself on being a good person, a good neighbor. But when it mattered most, when a life hung in the balance of a single, fleeting sound, I had done nothing. The moral of this story isn't about being the hero. It's about listening. It's about trusting that small, nagging feeling in your gut that tells you something is wrong, even when it's easier to believe that everything is fine. We live in a world filled with noise, and we train ourselves to filter most of it out just to stay sane. But sometimes in that cacophony of meaningless sounds, there is a signal, a plea. A cry for help that is disguised as nothing. That faint sound I dismissed was the most important thing I had ever heard in my entire life, and its echo has defined me ever since. It taught me the devastating price of indifference and the crushing weight of a moment lost. So I ask you, listen. Listen to the quiet moments. Listen to the silences between the noise. If you hear something, even if it seems like nothing, don't just dismiss it. Make the call. Check on your neighbor. It might be the most important thing you ever do. Because sometimes nothing is the only warning you'll ever get. Join us next time as we explore another story hidden in the shadows. Subscribe now, and don't forget to turn on your notifications. You won't want to miss what we uncover next.